Barcelona, the city of Gaudi, climatic districts, green hills, and FC Barcelona fans. It is said that Barcelona is not Spain. There is a different language, which is not a Spanish dialect, and is actually more similar to French. Catalans have fought and continue to fight for maintaining their own identity. Many of them want to secede from the Kingdom of Spain and make Catalonia an independent state. Different customs and a distinct culture also apply here. Moreover, all the languages of the world can be heard in Barcelona, which is never quiet. In this video, we will take you to Barcelona. We will see the original works of Gaudi, stroll through the atmospheric streets of the Gothic Quarter, relax on the seafront, and look at the city from many vantage points. Welcome to Barcelona. Barcelona is one of the most famous cities in the world, which owes its popularity mainly to one person. It is, of course, Antoni Gaudí, who created the symbols inseparable from this city. His designs arouse interest and intrigue, but also outrage and annoy. Not only now, but also in the times of Gaudi, they have caused much controversy. However, there is something that I think everyone will agree with. It is impossible to pass by Gaudi's works indifferently. The buildings designed by Gaudi are very distinctive and relate to nature. They have organic and rounded shapes, and are very often decorated with colorful panels. Gaudi was the most famous representative of Art Nouveau in Barcelona, which combines influences of Gothic, Orient, nature, and folk art. It was an expression of the national and cultural aspirations of the Catalans, who wanted to distinguish themselves from the rest of Spain. Many other artists followed his lead, which is why Barcelona is best known precisely for its Art Nouveau buildings. Let us start with a look at the most distinctive building in Barcelona, which has not yet been completed, but is already one of the most popular churches in the world. The Sagrada Familia, or Basilica of the Holy Family, is Gaudi's unfinished masterpiece, intended to be the tallest church in the world, which, however, cannot be taller than God's own creation, the nearby Montjuïc mountain. The Sagrada Familia was Gaudi's entire life for many years and became his obsession. An unexpected death prevented him from completing the work, as he was hit by an oncoming trolley at one of the intersections. At the time, he was probably consumed with thoughts of his most challenging project. The Sagrada Familia Basilica consists of 18 towers dedicated to the 12 apostles, the 4 evangelists, Christ, and the Virgin Mary. The church is intended to consist of 3 richly decorated facades that correspond to the mysteries of the Nativity, Passion, and Glory. There is an entrance fee to the basilica. Despite this, there is no shortage of eager visitors, so it is worth buying a ticket in advance online. Masses are also held here on Saturdays at 8 p.m. and on Sundays at 9 a.m. You can attend them free of charge, but it is worth coming at least an hour earlier, as the number of seats is limited. The interior is impressive and does not stand apart from the body of the building. There is a museum that collects mock-ups, photos, and drawings of the church. It is also possible to climb the tower, which offers a panoramic view of the city. Funding for the construction of the Sagrada Familia Basilica depends on donations and tourism revenues, and due to the complexity of the project, the budget is constantly being exceeded. Construction of the basilica has been underway for more than 140 years, and the work is scheduled for completion in 2026 on the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death. The Sagrada Familia Basilica stands in the Eixample district, which from the bird's eye view looks extraordinary. From this perspective, you can see that it is a well-thought-out grid of streets that was designed by engineer Ildefonso Cerda Sunyer. Antoni Gaudí also helped with the construction. The quarters are square in shape with sides of more than 100 meters and up to 20 meters high. This was to ensure a fairly even access to light and greenery, which appeared in the inner courtyards. Another example of Catalan Art Nouveau is the St. Paul Hospital, a historic complex of buildings designed by Louis Domènech and Montaner. The hospital occupies 9 street quarters in the Eixample district and consists of 27 pavilions and the main building, which are connected by underground corridors. They are distinguished by their rich decoration, colorful mosaics, ceramic tiles, and slender towers. The St. Paul Hospital is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and can be visited. Indeed, it is hard to believe that it really housed a hospital in the past. Gaudi had many opponents, but also his supporters. One of the greatest enthusiasts of his work was the Catalan entrepreneur and Gaudi's private friend Eusebi Güell. The name is primarily associated with Park Güell, which is located on a hilltop and full of fairy tale-like buildings. Initially, the Güell Park was to be replaced by an exclusive residential development inspired by the Garden City, the idea of which Eusebi Güell was fascinated by. Gaudi designed an estate of 60 plots, but in the end only 5 buildings were built. 2 at the main entrance and 3 on the site of the current park. This is because the residents of Barcelona were not interested in owning a house in this location. In one of the houses is a museum, and Gaudi once lived there. In addition, in Park Güell, you can see a variety of vegetation, interspersed with interesting architectural elements designed by the most famous Spanish architect. The most characteristic place in Park Güell is a large observation deck with the most popular bench in the world, which is 152 meters long. It offers a magnificent view of Barcelona and gingerbread houses. The terrace is located on the roof of the column hall, the ceiling of which is covered with ceramic fragments. On the stairs that lead to the hall, you can see a sculpture of a lizard, which is decorated with colorful mosaics. A fee is charged to enter the most popular part of the park. To avoid standing in line, it is worth buying tickets in advance online. If you enjoy our videos, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, as it will help us grow this channel. Near Güell Park on the Turó de la Rovira Hill are the post-war El Carmel bunkers, which are free to enter. It offers great views of all sides of Barcelona. It used to be a popular place to admire sunsets and the illuminated city. However, restrictions were recently put in place because tourists were making life miserable for locals. Nowadays, access is only allowed up to a specific hour. At the time this video was posted, it was 7:30 p.m. in the summer and 5:30 p.m. in the winter. Casa Vicens is Gaudi's masterpiece, which he designed at the age of 31. It is a building in energetic colors, which was commissioned by entrepreneur Manuel Vicens. It is decorated with colorful ceramics with floral motifs, giving it an oriental look. Today, Casa Vicens is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and its interiors are open to the public. Barcelona is also home to beautiful townhouses. Of course, the most outstanding are designed by Gaudi. A moment ago, we saw the less popular Casa Vicens, and in front of us are two of the most popular townhouses that stand on Passeig de Gràcia, the most exclusive street in Barcelona. Casa Milà is an undulating building, constructed in the early 20th century, on the recommendation of industrialist Perego Milà. The building did not meet with the approval of the Barcelonans or the principals themselves. It was considered heavy, clunky, and clumsy, so much that it was referred to as La Pedrera, meaning the quarry. Residents of nearby buildings even feared that by being adjacent to Casa Milà, their apartments would lose value. Today, Casa Milà is the most popular house designed by Gaudi, which has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. At Casa Milà, the roof full of unusual chimneys and bay windows, attic, apartment and courtyards are open to the public. Interestingly, La Pedrera is the first building in Barcelona to have underground parking. It was also Antoni Gaudí's last project, before he decided to devote himself entirely to the Sagrada Familia. Casa Batlló, designed by Gaudi, is a residential building constructed in the early 20th century. Its facade is covered with colorful pieces of ceramic and glass. The roof resembles the scales of a dragon. The columns look like bones, and the whole building resembles a daydream. The interiors of Casa Batlló have no right angles, but are full of organic shapes and details. The interior patio is tiled in various shades of blue, and a winding staircase in the form of a skeleton leads to the first floor. Next to Casa Batlló stands another interesting building, the Casa Amatller, which belonged to the family of chocolate manufacturer Antoni Amatller. Attention is drawn to the decorative facade with a stepped finial. Today it houses a cafe and a chocolate store. Gaudi is not the only famous artist who was associated with Barcelona. The city was also beloved by Salvador Dalí and Pablo Picasso, among others. The favorite place of the artists was the Gothic Quarter, its narrow streets and atmospheric pubs. Next to Art Nouveau, it was Gothic that had the greatest influence on Barcelona's architecture. This is most evident in the Gothic Quarter, which is an extremely climatic place, full of dark corners and stone buildings. Most of the streets of the Gothic Quarter are off-limits to motorized traffic, offering a very pleasant stroll. Popular places for artists were Granja Dulciana, where you can enjoy churros with chocolate, Els Quatregal, where Picasso met with other artists, and Bas Marsella, which is located in the neighboring district. Hidden in the streets of the Gothic Quarter are historic churches and charming squares. The St. Eulalia Cathedral stands in the heart of the Gothic Quarter. It is dedicated to the city's patron saint, a young martyr whose relics rest under the main altar. Saint Eulalia was subjected to 13 cruel tortures at the age of 13 in an attempt to force her to deny her Christian faith. During a tour of the cathedral, cloisters, and garden, you can see not only Gothic details, but also 13 white geese, a reference to the age at which Saint Eulalia was executed. The Picasso Museum in Barcelona was the world's first museum of the artist, and the only one established during his lifetime. His paintings are arranged here chronologically, allowing to follow the artistic development of Picasso over the years. Many of the painter's works are housed here, but those are rather less well known. The Picasso Museum is located in the atmospheric Elborn neighborhood, which is full of narrow medieval streets. The Catalan Music Palace is a more than century-old building with a magnificent concert hall. Designed by architect Lluís Domènech i Montaner in the Catalan Art Nouveau style. It was commissioned by the Orfeo Català Choir, which is still based here today. It is one of the most important and beautiful concert halls in the world, listed on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Contrary to appearances, not only classical music is played here, but also other genres, i.e. flamenco, jazz, and pop. The Catalan Music Palace is also open to the public. The interior of this building is decorated with rich ceramic and glass decorations, as well as sculptures and paintings, referring to nature, music, and Catalan culture. The most impressive feature is the dome made of colored glass. The Triumphal Arch is the main entrance that leads to the Ciutadella Park. It once served as the gateway leading to the site of the World Exposition, which took place in 1888. The arch has a distinctive red color, which distinguishes it from other triumphal arches in the world. Its upper part is decorated with bas-reliefs of current themes at the time of its construction. The arch also features the emblems of 49 provinces and the Spanish coat of arms. The Ciutadella Park is the green heart of Barcelona. Here you can see exotic trees and stroll through romantic alleys. However, this park has a dark past, as a fear-inspiring citadel once stood here. In the second half of the 20th century, its walls and almost all the buildings were demolished, and the area was used as a city park. The most beautiful place in the park is the water cascade, on the design of which Antoni Gaudí worked when he was still an architecture student. There is also a life-size mammoth, a playground, a zoo garden, and a small lake where you can take a boat ride. Torre Glòries, also known by its earlier name Torre Agbar, as well as by many other common names, is the most distinctive skyscraper in Barcelona, which now houses offices. On the 30th floor of this building is an observation deck that offers panoramic views of all sides of Barcelona. It is worth mentioning that in the evening, Torre Glòries is beautifully illuminated. Barcelona is not only about magnificent architecture, but also about beaches, as the city is located on the Mediterranean coast. The beaches in Barcelona stretch for about 5 kilometers, and the most popular and the closest to the center is Barceloneta Beach. Barceloneta is actually one of the districts of Barcelona, but colloquially, the name is used to refer to the wide beach. Along it is a seaside promenade that you can walk along to reach more beaches that are located in further districts of the city. The Old Port is the main commercial port of Barcelona, which is an entertainment center. It is home to a marina, the Maritime Museum, the Museum of Catalan History, and the Oceanarium. A wooden extension of the most famous street in Barcelona, called La Rambla del Mar, leads from the city to the Old Port. Right next to the Old Port is a monument to Christopher Columbus, which commemorates his arrival in Barcelona after discovering America. Columbus stands on an iron column topped with a globe symbol. The monument measures 60 meters and is also a vantage point that can be reached by elevator. It offers a beautiful view of the city and the coast. The most crowded promenade in Barcelona, La Rambla, begins near the Columbus Monument. It consists of 5 avenues, known as Ramblas, leading from the Columbus Monument all the way to Plaça Catalunya. La Rambla stands for chaos and harmony, restaurant solicitors and street vendors. You have to watch out for pickpockets here, as there is always a crowd. La Boqueria, which is a food market, is located at La Rambla, where you can buy products from all over the world. Exotic fruits, jamun or Spanish ham, original sweets, as well as various snacks. It is a real feast of colors and flavors. A modernist wrought iron archway decorated with colorful stained glass windows, and the city's coat of arms leads to the interior. Near La Rambla also is the Güell Palace, designed by Gaudi. The marble facade of this palace is topped with the fabulous and colorful chimneys, which are so characteristic of Gaudi's work. The Güell Palace impresses with its rich and varied decoration, which uses stone, wood, glass, ceramics, and iron. La Rambla culminates in the Plaça de Catalunya, which is one of the most important transport hubs in the city. It is also a popular meeting place, and the buildings that surround the square house quite a few hotels and stores, as well as the offices of important financial institutions. From the Plaça de Catalunya, we will move to the Plaça de España, where you will find the Arenas de Barcelona, a former bullfighting arena dating back to the year 1900, which is now converted into a shopping center. On its roof is a viewing point. Catalonia in 2004 was the first and one of the few regions in Spain to ban corrida. The Canary Islands also followed the example. In Spanish Square, you can also see the characteristic Venetian towers, which are reminiscent of the tower from St. Mark's Square in Venice. Spanish Square is located at the foot of Montjuïc Hill. Montjuïc Hill, also known as the Jupiter Hill, is a popular place in Barcelona where you certainly will not be bored. There are many attractions, such as parks, gardens, interesting buildings, as well as many vantage points from which you can enjoy a beautiful panorama of the city. The name Montjuïc is an abbreviation for Mons Judaicus, freely translated as Jewish cemetery, because there was a Jewish necropolis here during the Middle Ages. You can climb the hill on foot, for example, from the side of the Catalan Art Museum, or take one of two available railroads, cable or gondola. The National Art Museum of Catalonia is housed in the National Palace and presents works from many eras, from the Middle Ages to the present day. You can get here from Spanish Square by climbing the stairs. In front of the palace are the magic fountains, the shows of which have unfortunately been halted until further notice. There is also a centuries-old fortress on Montjuïc Hill, which offers a beautiful view of the city, as indeed do many places on the hill. In the first half of the 20th century, the castle served as a prison where thousands of Catalans, including striking workers, were held. In 1992, the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games were held in Barcelona. From here, you can also see the Olympic sports facilities on Montjuïc Hill. The stadium that is located here was built earlier, but for the Games additional facilities were created around it, the so-called Olympic Ring. The stadium can be visited free of charge, and it is interesting to note that for the duration of the renovation of Camp Nou, FC Barcelona team matches are held here. At the foot of the Montjuïc is a botanical garden with lots of cacti and succulents. You can enter for free, as well as other parks and gardens located on the hill. Camp Nou is one of the most popular stadiums in the world. It is the home stadium of FC Barcelona, which is more than just a football club for Catalans. Each time the team wins, it is a big celebration that is lavishly celebrated throughout the city. At the time of shooting this video, Camp Nou is being rebuilt and is expected to be one of the most modern stadiums in the world. Construction is scheduled to be completed in the year 2026. To date, the stadium has been able to accommodate nearly 100,000 people, and the first inaugural meeting was held on the 24th of September, 1957. Currently, only the FC Barcelona Museum is open to the public. There is also a large FCB gadget store next to the stadium. Barcelona also offers attractions for the little ones, but not only. One of them is the CosmoCaixa Museum, which has permanent exhibitions, temporary exhibitions, a planetarium, a library, an educational center, and cafes. One of the most interesting parts of the museum is a space with interactive exhibits, with the help of which you can learn about the workings of basic physical phenomena. You can also see the rainforest where the capybara hides, as well as life-size dinosaur skeletons and exhibits related to geology. Finally, we will take another look at Barcelona from the vantage point, which is located on the highest hill in Barcelona at 512 meters above sea level. At the top rises the Church of the Sacred Heart and the Tibidabo amusement park. There is also a telecommunications tower not far away. Tibidabo is also a popular vantage point from which you can enjoy a panoramic view of the city and the coast. It can be reached by cable car, public transportation, as well as by car. These are all the attractions in Barcelona that we wanted to show you today. We hope that thanks to this video, you will plan a successful stay in the Catalan capital and you will include in your sightseeing plan the places you are most interested in. We also encourage you to subscribe to the Experience Countries channel to stay updated with our upcoming videos.